Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Barron Arts Center. I am so pleased to see so many of my friends here to whom I owe so much of the goodness that is in my poetry. So thank you for coming. And it goes way back to Mike Tully. We were hanging out when in third grade. So thank you for coming. And I am going to be reading some poetry. And then I shall sing 2 songs. These two are so wonderful. My guitar playing will be strum, strum, get the wrong chord, strum. But I'm hoping the words will make up for it. So, Deborah, I wonder if it wasn't your class, but I always said anything can be the subject of poetry. And so we had a break and we went to the bathroom. And they came back and said, all right, how about the self-flushing toilets they just installed? So I said, all right, I'll take up the challenge, and here it is. And you'll get, I hope you'll get all the allusions, the words that I chose here. Self-flushing toilets. To flush or not to? Why ask? When the infrared eye is trained on your shifting positions, while incontinence abroad, no levers, stalls, cues forestall the bending of knees, bowing low to give back to earth the earth we make. But nothing of awe in the head, spraying back dejecta, not quite released, this cocky self-proclaimed bidet assuming its own P's and Q's of privy etiquette. And whatever you do, it nyaz like Bug Bunny to rebuff your blast, the middle of your void. If you are done, you can wait while the cables you laid, the scuds you launched, the bullets you stonked, float. Float. Wave your hand in front of the winky red eye. Press the weensy rubber button. Nothing. Nothing launches the incommodious self-regulating loop but itself. Or what about the non-stop hopper? No kid whiz enough to poop out the automatic bowl whose leaky flapper keeps wheezing and gushing like someone trying to memorize, what was I supposed to do? In constipated self-storage barracks, ranks of garages receive neither BM nor VWs, two backed up with closet dejecta, daisy petal plucking diarrheas, and other crap, as if we could ambush our future, be sure of more moves, as if we had a choice of self-flushing or not. I have written many poems about the Holocaust and my dying mother and my immigrant grandmother, and I thought today I just wanted us to have some fun, right? I didn't want anybody crying today. Okay, so this poem is called Making Up in the Car, and I'm going to give you a preview of it. That's a Maybelline Pulse Perfection mascara, which will play into this. All righty. Making up, how many of you make up in the car? You pulled on the visor last minute? Not that any of us want to wear makeup anymore, but okay. All right. The pandemic cured us of a lot of that. Making up in the car. Backed up for miles on US 69, somewhere on the verge of Texas and OK in my Carmen Ghia, top down with a red-faced Mac Titan butting my back bumper. And I'm all, not you again, you mother-trucking bighorn sideswiping 18-wheeler megaton pulling on your load, bearing down on me, frazzled, my hair all prickly at the roots. I'm about to flip him. This is how big yours is, finger. But with nowhere to run, no way I'm playing Thelma for him. Dead zone. Serious static. You roadhog panting down on me for it's got to be hours, and I'm all, what the hell? What if I turn down my visor, adjust my mirror to jockey some eye to eye with you, unscrew my vibrating Maybelline Lash Stiletto Falsies mascara, and pluck out the wand, wave it around and around so you think it might be about you, and plunge it back in to pump it up with no budge goop, and raise it to my eyes. And something in you lets out a squeal like an elephant in heat. You huff and you puff and you blow me out your air brakes, and I'm stroking my short curlies from the not there to the from here to there, volume, length, curves, unstoppable Cleopatra eyes for you to make out, and a Maryland mouth round and round with the hot mama gloss to slick up my rub pucker up. This is all to the guy in back. And you're flashing, yes, your emergency lights, and I'm licking my front teeth, the arc of my undertongue glowing, and here it comes, ignition, bumper to bumper, locked, rocking, we're rocking, and you turn on your wipers and slap, raining your washer fluid all over my back seat, and I'm creaming my cheeks with CoverGirl, blushing them harder, and you're getting on your high beams, transforming my used to be ticked off frizz into a hello. And the SUV onto my right is rolling up its windows, and the Jag on my left is sliding its down, and the Volvo in front of me is ramping up his mega bass, pulsing, bobbing, his brake lights red, real red. What if? My neighbors, a gay couple, they call themselves girls. One of my friend Sue, she was walking along the trail, and a woman on a horse, looked down on her and said, "Move over, Diesel Dyke." And, Sue's looking around, so where's the car? And later on, she found out the girl was gay, but was not comfortable with it yet. But anyhow, Sue and Debbie and I went to the truck stop because I was going to write a poem for my friend Stu. And so this is from a Diesel Dyke's point of view. Diesel Dyke, a runaway villainette. And those of us who know the villanelle will know this is, it runs away with itself. Which is a little bit like what didn't happen the previous poem. I'm a Diesel Dyke and a dirty girl. The only shtick I need is a bitter Peterbilt with a honk, and a woo. And can you do that with me? Ready? Honk, ready? Honk, woo, psh. Let's practice it again. With a honk, and woo, and a psh. And a little hand motion is good, a little exercise while we're sitting. Okay. I'm a Diesel Dyke and a dirty girl. The only shtick I need is my Peterbilt with a honk, and a woo, and a psh. I grow my dreads to my ass, go-go diva of the road, a beard and a stash, brow straight across, braid my pits, 'cause I'm a Diesel Dyke and a hairy girl. I keep my knockers to myself, but bear a hickory stick, banging on my tires to listen for pressure, going bonk, woo, psh. I'm no cheerleading Barbie with pom-pom mitts, clip my nails to the quick, grease them up for polish. 10 grimy smiles grinning up at their Diesel Dyke and dirty girl. I'm on permanent vacation with my cargo go, hauling meat and reefers, swapping bodies, tossing my load with a honk, honk, and a woo, woo, and shh, shh. A 40-ton mama. See, it is longer than usual. Bellinel. Okay. A 40-ton mama stripping my gears, tanking up, servicing. I've rigged a snatch-up life, cruising pickle parks and stops for other tattooed up the wazoo, Volvos and Dyke. I've got steroid, hemorrhoid, Freud, road rage. I've got my hiking, diking, psyching out ways, gaydar detector, roadie protectors for that shh, shh, shh. Beef jerky in my trap, Bubba Java on my dash. Blow-ups, blow-outs, pay as you go, keep on trucking, and a honk, honking for that woo, woo, and shh, shh. The road is my lover, and she is me. If you want to get going, breaker me at run, 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 run away. Your personal diesel dyke and Gertie girl with a honk, honk, and a woo, woo, and shh. So much for putting down my friend. All righty. During the pandemic, it was so great, no bras, right? Because then you just put your camera so that, like this, Well, anyhow, buying bras are no fun. You guys should know about this. All right, this is called Kohl's Intimates. Kohl's Intimates bras like white, black, fuchsia eye sockets spoon each other on squealing racks, and I, this 43rd minute in the not-fitting room, am trying to press my breasts into melons on a tray, full frontal butt track, twin moons rising décolletage. To dish me up for this, we have to talk. Date you proposed, our last, I'm sure. Wrinkled cups, underwire, push-up cages, straps unraveled and straps, bullets and jockey bras twist around my ankles, maiden form, play, text, fantasy, and Warners. Really? Warners? What do I want would lift and separate. All I need is a you waiting on the hubby-holding couch, stroking the pillows and pinching their buttons. All right, so I'm crazy about flowers. That was another thing that saved me during the pandemic, and the daffodils were coming up, so yellow. And I was ecstatic, I was manic, I was bipolar about it. And this is what came out. Daffodil. Oh, dally da da do. Daddy Phil, oh, Duff. Fido, Lily, it's all letters from Daffodil. Fido, Lily, diddy do, Lido, Fado, Falalo, Laughly, oil, offy low, da da laugh, oh daffo, la di da dio dio, do di dido, folly, oh diffa do, oh fi yo, oh dill, oh daff, lol, oil, foil, loyal, fill, ill, dildo, ill, dildo, I do, I, odi, I, F-O, oleo. It's just pure joy. The left brain totally left me. I was totally my right brain body self. Zucchinis, right? Thank God it's over with. Anybody still have the zucchinis coming? Okay, well, I planted 4 plants because they all come like in a 4-pack, right? Okay. The zucchini are coming for me. I know them by name. Zebediah the Zeppelin, Zoe the torpedo, and nameless twisted off mannequin arms, ostrich drumsticks, cudgels, bazooka cigars, oh, and Zabala the Sputnik, Zamora the bulbous baseball bat, come in camo, green, yellow, tarnished, submarines rising to the surface in the night. The abundance I longed for and then regret when I can't deploy soon enough my machete, hack, saw, take them out before Zoroaster zeroes in on my refrigerator and Zuzu eludes even a wonderful knife. If I deny what I have brought onto myself, they stew and rot. Strew their dragon seeds, go underground, spring up an army of recruits lying in wait for me, so I can hear where to find the reserves. How many neighbors can I draft? Family harass, friends to impose on to relieve me of Zizzy. Oh, how to win over all my unfinishednesses. All I didn't digest, internalize, couldn't cook up, couldn't rescue. The whole army I couldn't meet that comes and comes again, pointing giant fingers at me. Zorro, Zena, Zachary, Jaja, Ezekiel, Zany, Zoli 1, Zoli 2, Zoli 3. Ay. So, I am going to, I'm doing some risky poems here. I am going to now show my politics. This January 6, 2021, the White House needed a root canal. The dentist and assistant hover over me with riot masks and weapons. Shots, squirts, lights, the drill whines, buzzes, jackhammers my tooth to skewer out the rot, the pulp, the nerve. The TV drones vote recounts, impending storms, pans that impacted the White House. Its sandstone colonnades, the Oval Office burning with noise. I pray, please ream out this infected pustule, the inflamed abscess-threatening brain disease, the crown compromised by decay. And my tooth, yeah. A COVID year, afraid of dentists, I lied to myself the pain is sinus pressure, grinding my teeth in denial like someone else denying the pandemic. The dentist dams open my mouth with surgical rubber, wedges in a bite block, fills my mouth with fingers for 2 hours, so I can't yell at the TV. Stop, go, now. Suction, flush, blow. The drool choke me. Then at last, rinse, spit. Oh, pearly White House, spit. I've written about suffrage, what it took. It took more than 70 years for women to secure their right to vote. And so this is a whole book on that, if you're interested in it. I'm just going to read a poem that I had written a while ago, but seems appropriate now. It's called The Catless. Unfulfilled, those who can't have cats spray themselves with cachet and stalk clubs and shot rooms, to lure a personable Kate or whiskery Tom to fix their mounting needs. Tuxedos, caterers, lockets, and lace. The caught catalyst, those who don't have cats, cathect and I do. And then they have kitchens and catalogs and grass whips, heat, bucks curtailed, stifled. It's too late. They're hunting, kits are we, for virtual pets and Garfields with suction cup paws. Soon the milked parents who had kids scatter bowls of Special K and Gatorade to manage the kitties for the weekend or month. But kit sitters kidnap, in-laws take charge, no furloughs in the Catskills for the feline challenged, no shiatsu at Take-A-Nap Spa. Teenage catatonia and scruffiness arrives as strays and katzenjammers oscillate outdoors and in, and at 3 o'clock claw their way back to the pad. Oh, pity the licked catless, who clue in too late. For coverage and control, all you ever needed was a litter box, 9 lives, H2O, a familiar to knead sun into rugs and weigh down beds, warm draws, who never spike fur, hightail, or catechize faults for Kathmandus of solitude, catty-teed summers and Cathay, kindle a new romance, have kittens the right way. So they said, if you bring what's that quote? If you bring a guitar onto the stage, shoot it, something like that? Yeah, if you bring a gun on stage, shoot it. I was at a singing workshop, and it's bad teaching overpraise, because as soon as you start overpraising, somebody on the other side of the room is dying because they didn't get that praise. It's much harder to show appreciation, to say, I noticed this image in your poem. I noticed that the sonics that happen in here. It's much easier just to say, oh, that's great. But then everybody dies, right? Who doesn't get that great? So that was happening, and it was happening, this teacher was also flirting with the woman, so added another level of tension. So I went back to my room and I said, okay, it's either suicide or I write a song. And I love flowers. And for those of you who are gardeners, I hope that you will enjoy some of the flower illusions. And I'm playing very softly because with these two, I can't compete. The lily doesn't say to the rose, that's not how a flower grows. And the rose does not reply, really ought to be more shy and not exude quite so much perfume. The snapdragon doesn't snap at the daisy doesn't crazy the mum doesn't hush the daisies and do the violets any violence. The dandelion doesn't roar about not being blue. The delphinium does not her colors eschew. They all gather in a bunch to photosynthesize their lunch and spread their toes among the beneficial nematodes. I got nematodes into the song. The impatiens aren't. The forget-me-nots do not, the cinquefoil hi-fis, the everlasting dust. and the clover never gets over how clever Cloverly she is. The oleander doesn't wander from her oleanderness. So never spread your tulips to rue or nettle yourself that you want a poppy, ester, dahlia, or jasmine. May the freesia free it to yourself. Because the lily doesn't say to the rose, "That's not how a flower grows." And the rose does not reply, "You really ought to be more shy and not exude quite so much perfume." Let's all gather in a bunch to photosynthesize our lunch and spread our toes among the beneficial nematodes. And to round things out, we did have the Olympics, and I think you can help me with this. You know, the bum, bum, ba, bum, bum. Can you do that with me? Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum. You can also bum, 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 bum. You know, get some, okay, all right. This is called the Make Wrong Olympics. There's been wonderful memes, on Facebook and so forth, with this kind of Olympics and teachers Olympics and, so forth. So this is the Make Wrong Olympics. It's my family are gold medal winners. Bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, bum, bum. I am always right and you are always to blame. These are the Make Wrong Olympics. Shame lame, no win games. If you lie in wait to should on me, I'll lie in wait for you. A billionth nanometer off, you're in the who's, not who. Recriminations march in the opening parade. Harmonia, arguentina and pain. Bunglery, frazzle and no way. And finally the autocrats from the Mesopotamian plains. You didn't put the seat down, you didn't call me back. You drive too slow, you're way too fast, told you so, missed a spot. I am always right and you are always to blame. These are the Make Wrong Olympics, shame lame, no win games. If you lie in wait to should on me, I'll lie in wait for you. A billionth nanometer off, you're in the who's not who. Ping-ponging barbs, guild marathons and gaps, finger jabbing in your face-offs, fault-finding, down-dressaging, reproof, outstarings, ostracizing, name that goof. And then we have gold, silver, and bronze, go to nags, harpies, and grumps. You're profligate, you're cheap. It's lie, not lay, it's I, not me. You're dangling apostrophes, 'cause I am always right and you are always to blame. These are the Make Wrong Olympics, shame, blame, no win games. And I shall go right to the end. There's something that you can help me with. There's going to be a word at the end, and you'll know what it is. You started it, ridiculous, absurd. Knew it before you said, I've got the last word. So I'm just going to say this, that my
computer broke and my email crashed at the same time. So I'm getting everything back together. I have a new email and my computer is up and running again. But I lost a lot of work because I can't get on my old email anymore, which had tons of poems. And I have not been writing much. So I'm hoping to do a workshop one of these days and get some prompts going and start writing again. But here are some of them, and some of them are newer. So this is called Change. Let us metamorphosize, become. I am what I never wanted to be, the same. Even Kafka's Gregor got change, and I am restless. When I was 17, fear lived in my gut, but whispered of great things to come. Now there's a flatness. I am not brave. I have died 1,000 deaths. I want to go to the forest and cozy up to the old man who grants wishes in exchange for crumbs of bread. I have a whole loaf. It's the fancy kind from Breadsmith, apple crumb. So this is an old poem. And it's about Halloween. It's from my old neighborhood. I grew up in the Ironbound section of Newark, and it's my first kiss. It's about my very first kiss. So, and I think I was like 6 years old or something. So, DeLagro's drugstore and Lorzak's Five and Dime had their windows decorated with bestial cardboard fold-up life-size dangly skeletons and black cats with arched backs, fur standing on end. I was going to be a bride. The costume came in a cardboard box with a cellophane cover, cut out top so that you could see inside, see the shiny white dress, the plastic mask with hollowed out eyes, the powdery white veil that smelled like vanilla and almonds, the kind they give as wedding favors, tiny pastel colored flowers attached to each side of the veil, blue, pink, yellow. Brucey Costabile was Popeye. He chased me around the classroom, and when he caught me, he kissed me right on the mouth. His face turned red as his hair, and the world stopped for a few moments. And I knew that something was different. Something has changed. So I pushed him, and he pushed me back. Thank you. This is called Looking for Snow White. I love Anne Sexton, and she wrote this book called Transformations, and it's all fairy tales. So I write often fairy tales too, because I just love that book so much, and it had a great influence on me. So anyway, Looking for Snow White. The witch prepares her apples in advance, ready to sell them on the street corner. It can be in any town, maybe a corner near you, maybe on Broad and Market Street.
I thought that was my ears.
Hi. Maybe on Broad and Market Streets in my hometown. She's been there before, knows it's a busy section where men and women work, where men and women have dreams of success for themselves and their families, have fears of failure, hopes of love. When the night rides in, the people change, but the dreams remain the same. The college students are full of the future. The prostitutes up Market Street bring their desires for their children and their dreams of quiet and safe solitude. The drug addicts want to quit, need their fix, want to quit, need their fix, want love. We all have a void. It joins us. It brings out the best in us. It brings out the worst in us. It separates us. It eats us, it kills us, it saves us. Will the apples fill the void? The witch is standing with her basket filled to the top. Snow White can be anyone, you, me, the college students, the prostitutes. The poison comes later when you find out you've been mistaken, misguided, lied to, held back your dreams, your life, your love, because what if you are too stupid, too fat, too tall, too ugly, too quiet, too loud, too old, not enough? The witch lives inside of us, gnawing at our souls. Pick the red juice juicy one on top. Isn't it pretty? Look at the way it shines in the sun. Thank you. Thank you. And this one is called Alice. I have often felt like Alice, not quite fitting in where I am, feeling a bit awkward, as though I might step on something or someone and make a mess of things, as though my mirror might open up and expose me to the world, my blemishes and wrinkles laid out for all to see, my past mistakes doing twirls and somersaults around me, each with its own face and pointing finger. Take one pill and you're too big. Take the other and you shrink beyond recognition. Everyone screaming at you to hurry up, when all you want is a cup of coffee and to read the morning paper. Thank you. And this one is called Gretel. She has left the breadcrumbs behind and walks timidly forward. She passes trees, a house, an old woman in a black cloak. Her wristwatch tells her her time has run out. The dark is coming, the oven door has opened wide, and it is she who passes bones through cage bars, commits the sin, pushes the woman into flames. But she walks forward, and when she reaches home, it is her brother they embrace. The father has been forgiven, and Gretel waits quietly as they apply the name like a hologram that flashes in the sun. Witch, mother, woman, Gretel, this is your story. Claim it if you can. This is a villanelle. I never really write in any kind of form, so this was like a real challenge to me. But anyway, I don't know if it's exactly right, but a villanelle. I imagine the lines and curves of your body when the hour was early and I thought you were mine, but it didn't happen that way. I remember missing you for days, months, even years. Should I show the signs? I imagine the lines and curves of your body. I dreamed that we spoke earlier that day, life friends forever tied, blood brothers of a kind. No, it didn't happen that way. Each pore, crease, follicle on your face and the softness of your skin, your black hair remembered. I imagine the lines and curves of your body. Your slender fingers touch me promising, pointing to a future design. No, it didn't happen that way. No, it was too dangerous to say those words, too confining. I imagined the outline of your body, but it didn't happen that way. Thank you. Hands, a love poem. I fell in love with you when I saw your hands, strong, hands that do things. I see the veins that move through them. They remind me of my grandfather's hands, capable, the kind of hands that rub Vicks on your chest when you're sick, the kind of hands that change flat tires for friends, that paint houses and fix plumbing. The veins are so beautiful. I imagine they lead to your soul. I wish I could trace them with my fingers, touch you lightly, so lightly, but you're a stranger to me, and I don't even know your name. Of sleep, thank you. Of sleep and dreams. The sun wakes me. The light coaxes me out of my dream, forces me to crawl back inside my skin. What is real and what is unreal divide themselves as blissful sleep puts on its coat and hat, departs, leaves me with my old familiar aches. I reclaim my body one section at a time, my mouth dry, muscles stiff. What I want is to find a way back into that dream where there are only the two of us in black and white, and we share a cigarette, an inside joke, and some whiskey. And like a Frank Capra movie, everything turns out right in the end. Thank you. This poem is called Heart, and this is an epigraph from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is a valley of ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wheat into ridges and hills and grotesque gardens, where ashes take the forms of houses and chimneys and rising smoke. My heart is broken, not in half like a cartoon with a crooked graph-like center ridge, but rather repeatedly stretched taut and then hollowed out, keeping time, and then from overuse made flaccid. The difficult surgery, the birth of our son, the accident, the promotions and acceptances, disappointments. My heart is like the delicate remains of a house burned out long ago, burned but never raised, waiting for people to place their finger in the dust and feel the part it played in time, feel what it was before, including all of its sections, births, parties, quarrels, lovemaking, and even the horrible night of flames, the story told by a filmy mess that can seep inside you. And if the weather cooperates and the dust is loose and flying about, you can swallow the ashes and grow into a new house with flowers and a picket fence and lives that didn't disappear, and into the lives that did, into the ghosts, the garments and props from a scene which break apart with the touch of a finger. I am the creator, a creator who works in the stuff of ashes and memories that don't last and leave me knowing I am temporary. Thank you. Just a couple more. This one is called Epistle, and it is from a conversation I heard somebody having with their daughter. And, so bear with me. These are not my thoughts. Dear Mother, just dropping you a line to let you know the move went well. No, I don't have any dates so far. All the men I've met are shorter than me. Forever, Martha. Martha, baby, who cares if he's too short? There are things a man can do to appear taller. For instance, he can always stand on his wallet. Love, Mama. Dear Mother, all my friends are dating. It's been kind of boring, nothing really to do as a single, and I feel so lonely. Everybody here has coupled up or has a best friend. Maybe I'll come home for the weekend. Alone, Martha. My dearest Martha, let me tell you about friends. Your best friend is what you've got in your pocket, Mama. Dear Arlene, did you really tell Mom about the vibrating eggs? Shocked, Martha. Dear Martha, get a life. You haven't had a date in months. Do you want to know where I bought them? Your sister, Arlene. I love Betty Davis, and so this is about several of her movies, but mainly now Voyager, and it's called Not the Moon. So here we go, Not the Moon. Let's don't ask for the moon. We have the stars, Betty Davis says to Paul Henreid in Now Voyager. A romantic scene interrupted by my 2024 sensibilities. Why don't they end up coughing convulsively when Jerry lights up two at once as the volume of the background noise increases and they gaze out of the window together, looking at the sky, sucking in deep, long drags, the kind I used to take in the 90s when I smoked 2 packs a day and wasn't sorry for it. All that puffing and smoke coming from everywhere, the cigarettes, their mouths, their nostrils. The smoke cuts through the intended tenderness of the scene. What is going on here? Besides the now politically incorrect love of tobacco, Charlotte is pissing off the feminist in me. They share a child, his, not hers, who she'll devote her life to. He'll stay married to the wife that doesn't understand him. She'll live out her life as aunt, cloistered in clubs and charities, the payback for loose upper social class 1940s women characters who, for a bit of impropriety, no longer had to be killed off, but only transformed into the female eunuch. Thank you, Germaine Greer. Back to the wife and home in the suburbs for him. No castration, no purification. What to do? It's one of my favorite movies. It helped me when seen it. I love Betty Davis, everything about her, except for the glimpses of that whatever happened to baby Jane look you get in retrospect. You can see it in Mr. Skeffington and just a tad in Jezebel, in the scenes where her eyes are wild and you think, how does it happen? She was so beautiful. And when will whatever happen to me? Don't roll your eyes. It's not the loss of beauty thing. It's my soul. It's the barrier that loose skin constructs between you and the world. It's the guy at the Open who told me he hated that women were always using their bodies as subject matter in poems, and then went on to read a poem about his girlfriend's body. It's the 20-something reading a poem about her breasts and getting talked up after a reading, while the woman who reads about breast cancer gets a quiet nod. Forget her. Forget the unhip, the unlucky, the less than beautiful, the older ones who remind us that this is life too. This is our life too. So it's my soul, the heart of me that boils it down to pulling off veils, a new kind of dance, the skin off, the fear, the prejudice, the hardness, the thought up inadequacy, the anger, the broken spirit, all thrown off one by one, revealing everything and getting rid of all that smoke. Thank you. Okay. And this one is called Sacrifice. My lips are starting to stick together. Okay. Sacrifice. Oh, yeah, that would be so great.
I would offer you water and I have none.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I usually have it. Sacrifice. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Sick, failing, national tragedies got you down. You can buy your way to success, health, and safety. There's a pretty plastic card for every issue. Green, gold, platinum, black, blue. Take one, take them all. See the brilliant array of colors before you. Enough to soothe the savage, to give a moment of hope. Allow fleeting belief and faith to flash before your eyes. We've changed our collective mantra from do without to have it all. Sugar and fat are bad for you. Eat them up. Gas costs are rising. Fill up, fill up. Ride instead of walk. Buy more than you need. Don't stretch things out. It's been backward day in this nation for generation. Where is the will to give up? We have misplaced it and want to fill the void with fear and hate and baubles galore. Shop, don't sacrifice. Better to gorge like lost hungry ghosts with no end to our appetite in sight. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so I have two more, and one of them was in Big Hammer, which is published by Dave Roscoe's. It's a great magazine. And this is called Aphrodite of the 12th Street Bar. And there is, and I forgot to look it up because this was like 2 years old, but there's this fairy tale that my mother used to tell me, or a fable, I don't know, about two sisters that one was good and one was bad, and out of one mouth came diamonds and pearls, and out of the other mouth came toads and terrible things and snakes. So anyway, I have a little epigraph, and it's diamonds and pearls pour from her mouth, and music from the heavens, perhaps too. Aphrodite of the 12th Street Bar sits in the dark room with the rest of us. A slant of light produces shadow figures on the walls and distorts everyone's features. She sits across from me, this woman with hair as black as a crow, her eyes warm, soft brown. She starts to cry. Her tears drown out the other patrons' sorrows. We all stop for a moment and see her, listen to her, pay attention, and then turn back to our drinks, our conversations, our phones. She reaches out and touches the bartender's arm. His body responds. His arms want her, and everyone feels it, and it's almost uncomfortable. I break the tension and ask for a gin martini. Beer and shots, he answers. She leans over. We all admire her cleavage. I'll have sex on the beach, she says. He tells her he'll see what he can do. I'll have a blue moon, I say, and the bartender doesn't hear me and puts a bud down in front of me. He hands Aphrodite a pretty glass of something, and I think of how he didn't listen to me, how I didn't get what I wanted, how I want to be heard, how everyone needs to be heard. Thank you. And my last poem is called Something Beautiful, and it was published in Arbella, which is Tom Opposite's magazine, a great magazine as well. And it's about, like, I really need to take a workshop so I could start writing again. So this was a great workshop that we had where someone by the name of Anthony George gave this workshop, and this poem came out of it, and I hope we get to have them again someday. Something Beautiful. I am taking a poetry workshop in the hopes that the neglected child in me will come out to play. I'm 15 minutes early, so I sit at the table and try to think of anything exciting that I do. There's not much. I'm reading The Artist's Way, Melody Beattie, and Pema Chodron. All three talk about the inner child, but my inner child is lost. I move and I move and I move from one day to the next. As Janis Joplin sang, it's all just one fucking day, man. Then the teacher appears in the doorway, takes out a huge bag of potting soil, and spreads it over the table. Put your papers away and stick your hands in the dirt, he says. I do. The dirt is cool. There are small shells and sticks mixed in. The sticks are dry and fall apart in my hands. The shells are powdery, iridescent in spots. Beautiful. I remember when I played in the dirt under the porch steps where the lattice work broke and the skunk slept during the day. I remember poems that I read about spiders and trees and love and how my friend could whip up beautiful things on her sewing machine from pieces of discarded fabric, and the wine my grandfather made with peaches soaking in it, and the one time when I was 6 years old and he gave me some of those peaches to eat. That was beautiful too. And I guess anything can be beautiful. It's all perspective. A cold winter night, dirt poured on a table, grown men and women playing in the dirt, putting dried sticks and seashells into green plastic flower pots, and those peaches, of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Cover the ground in chaos. Send word to the soil that the fire wants its day. Give notice to the flowers of the tax that lay upon their petals, and safe prayer. Safe prayer for those among us too stubborn to perish after the scorch, because I don't remember the last thing I loved that I didn't set on fire. In the fight to defend against the Romans, Gallic leader Vercingetorix ordered the burning of all homelands, towns, and territories, and so to deprive the enemy of the possibility to plunder. And I wonder if my predilection for feeding the appetites of flames with the things I value most is how I defend against the ghost that history has already assigned to destroy me. I wonder if my hands are always warm because I am perpetually liable to combust. I wonder if the smell of gasoline is the reason why I wrote my first poem. I'm sure that by now I've become a thermometer's worst nightmare. I'm sure that by now me and the sun have developed a territorial beef, just as well that by now I am sure that loving me is the closest to hell you will ever come without having to first kiss the Reaper. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Ross Haru. I want to thank Barron Arts Center for having me. Every time I'm here, the creativity, the energy is electric, and it's always a great performance. Speaking of, so I like to make performances as synergistic and interactive of an experience as possible. So if you hear something that you like in the middle of a poem, feel free to snap, feel free to give me a oomph, right? You can smile or just nod very intently to let me know that you're with me, and we can make this a shared experience. So the majority of the poems you're gonna hear come from my latest collection of poetry entitled The Rubicon. The Rubicon is two stories told simultaneously. It's one, the story of Roman statesman and General Julius Caesar, and then it's also the story of educator, poet, handsome fella in front of you, Mr. Ross Haru. So if you're not sure which world you're in a particular poem, it means that the poem is working and you're in both. And then the other poems, the majority of the other poems you're gonna hear come from my latest collection that is unpublished, entitled Relearning How to Shine. So now that's all out the way, let's get to the poems. So I'm gonna change my order a bit here. So I am a proud son of the city of Newark. And if you are a Newark poet without a Newark poem, are you really even a poet, right? Right. So this first poem is entitled Streets of Home, or a poem about Newark. Let the headlines tell it. There is never a wrong day for somebody somewhere to catch a body where I'm from. In defense of the truth, I will tell you such a statement isn't really all that inaccurate. A punchline packed with enough potent truth to crack your funny bone, I can promise you the streets of home are no joking matter. Name the smoke you want, I know a block that will bring it. Streets are always watching it, nobody's ever seen it. A city well acclaimed for both its infamy and fame, you know the name, I dare you say it. Pronunciation of the word is the test of your survival, known to champion your cause or for picking off your brightest idol. What's in the water? What's in the water? X marks the spot of the ballroom plot. What's in the water? What's in the water? City man, what's the plan? What you keeping in the closet? Corrosion of the soul, now the weapon is the faucet. What's the cost of current losses? A city worth of blues, but what else is city news? Camera crews point and shoot like how a gangster makes his bones. A taker's itch for good times will leave your happy days postponed where I'm from. Where I'm from is no television sitcom. Hunger, pains, and quest for change will make a man do anything but sit calm. The wrong line cross can have your jaw rearranged. A natural attraction to flames. We always just around the corner from a riot or rebellion. Always just up the block from disseminating our latest set of ass whoopings. Only 5 minutes away always from catching the next come up. Only ever needing half a reason to activate a run up. I love it here. Contribute a new arc to your novel. Solidify with brute force what a pen cannot clean. Pivotal yet far from pristine. The rawest and realest glimpse of a world you've never seen. Black hoodies and mesquines, bean pies and final calls. Brothers and sisters out to get it will turn your corner block into a strip mall where I'm from. I tell you the streets of home are like the streets of Rome. And as a native son, I'm here to assure you that the bigger I get, the more you should be concerned with me. For what reason, pick one, for I'm sure they're all valid. Brilliant, beautiful, barbarous, otherwise not always safe, even lethal on the wrong day. My point is, the headlines are only slightly off-based. Politicized and gets me sure, but not always wrong. Name your valor. Name your vice, villainy, or virtue, and I can assure you it all starts here, it all ends here, the streets of home. I am the stone that should forever be refused. I am the fiasco, fabricated, attempting to take shape behind the facade of pretty poems. I am the pretty that is poison. I am the cautionary tale told about poets. I am the shine that will blind you. Please take caution. Take care, as all I have to spare for you is the allure of things, the charm of the sirens, a price tag that you'll ultimately wish that you could not afford, a perfume that will never amount to more than the stench of bad memories. I'm the morning after the party. MOURNING, I'm the morning after the party. Something like what is left behind from destructive combinations of ill intentions and wrong decisions. I am ambition unhinged. I am the binge that does not sleep. I am a crude apology forever unable to weep. I am a coming storm sick of its own forecast, a lasting trauma with a talent for leaving impressions upon the life you used to know. I wasn't asked for and I know it. Great republics have fallen because of me. Families have been introduced to carnage because of my sword's thirst for glory. A story told for thousands of years that still ends in the same bloody mess. Blessed and obsessed with the power to rearrange your calendar, I can assure you your days are numbered should you decide not to heed my warnings. I'm worn out. My eyes have swallowed more than bones can carry. My liver can tell you stories that my leaders would shame. My name has been many things across the years, though it has never really mattered. They say all is fair in love and war. But what they always fail to tell you is that semantics is all that ever really separates the two. What they always fail to tell you is there is no act amongst mortals that can't be summarized as an act of one or an act of the other. What they always fail to tell you is that all that decides which is where you are standing when the sword is unsheathed. What they always fail to tell you is that without a doubt, whatever you love will always find a way to break you. What they always fail to tell you is there are no winners in war. All that's left from the siege are the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized. I tell you, I am the stone. Ask Goliath about my damage. Ask Debo what a brick can do. Ask them both how dirt tastes. Ask them both if the sleep is any more peaceful after the fall. Ask yourself if you are really, really ready to cast the die and risk it all on a stone already warning you to never entrust it with your dreams. Never build your sandcastles upon me, because when the battle lines have been broken and the sunrise has come to greet the earth at dawn, all that will be left are the dead and the traumatized, the dead and the traumatized, the dead, and the traumatized. Thank you. Great. This is fun. So this next poem is a short poem. I might need your help. It's entitled A Poem About Things I'm Not Sure Of. And it's entitled that because it's a poem about things I'm not sure of. So if you happen to have any idea, I will gladly steal it. I mean, share your idea and we can work something out. Where are we? There you go. I have a confession to make. I'm not quite so gentle all of the time. Most of the time, though, I'm okay with this. You see, my mother's first name is Patricia. Her last name is a city in Italy, and though she has never been, I was raised by black women with coliseums in their bones sometimes. Sometimes I write poems from places where pressure and persuasion go to dance beneath the moon. I admit I'm never quite able to get a firm footing over the rhythm of the music, but my pen seems to be capable of handling panic quite well, and frankly, sometimes it makes me jealous. Sometimes I try and sleep and I can hear the ghastly gallop of a gladiator's horse. I lie awake wondering if the stampedes I feel in my chest can reveal just why I know so much about the fall of empires. I toss and turn, hoping that my pen can be as lethal as a Roman soldier's sword, and then I concern myself with why. Why I choose to compare something that gives me life to an instrument designed to draw blood. I question, what is it about blood that makes me pour into these lines? What is it about glory that makes us seek out our destruction? What is it about the soil that makes us feed it dead bodies? Thank you. So this next poem is entitled On Landing, and it was written with the inspiration of a Kwan Saba. And a Kwan Saba is a poem form that came out of celebration of Kwanzaa, in which you have one stanza that is 7 lines long with 7 words per line and no more than 7 letters inside of each word. So I decided to take the Kwan Saba idea and I wrote 7 stanzas with this concept. So every time you hear me snap, it's the transition into the next stanza. Yeah, you guys got it. All right. I am an unnamed star. On nights lonelier than me, I am free to be without shape or shame. On nights colder than despair's touch, I am an influx of ever-moving embers, a mobbing rage of anger and protest against the gloom and unkind silence, rushing and weeping. Forever seeking asylum in the eternal echo, I am a junkie and a dreamer. I cease trying to tweeze the two apart once I learn just how well sex and stardust can satisfy a vein. My nose is no cleaner than my shoes. To know where this journey began, follow the trail of poems that chose the dirt over another night in my pockets. I made peace with their leaving long before they knew my body could never house anything worth a second sample. Have you ever known anything more pitiful and poetic than the path of this poem? I lost route to revival soon after hitting the road. Since then, I've become all handlebars and no brakes. This means I'm always on the way, but tired of never finding a proper place to park my bones. I find it cruel fatigue isn't fatal. Cradle me asleep and hear me sing. I've never heard the notes myself, but what else explains why every new day I wake to tears left behind by someone who cannot stay long enough to applaud what I did in the night? I only wish they left their name. I'm not the same author I once was. I'm still trying to figure and fathom what my voice sounds like when it isn't giving rise to a new vice. Even this poem is unsure of what its purpose is anymore. It too stopped caring for foolish things. And since mother taught me to never say thank you with empty hands before my fall, I hope this pride of mine can fill my lungs with any jewels I can offer the asphalt other than my smile. Until then, I fear landing. Thank you. I hope this is as enjoyable for you guys as it is for me. This next poem is entitled Metal Mouth. Let me make sure. Yeah, Metal Mouth. The last time I flossed, I found an AK-47. In one fell swoop of a mundane morning routine, a scrawny, brace-faced boy has given his enemies reasons to invest in Kevlar. Today, I bestow metal mouth with a new meaning. To see me smile is to stare down fate's barrel. On one hand, I resent my father for not informing me sooner that I was all bones and bullets. Meanwhile, I applaud my mother for not debriefing me sooner, as she knew the dangers of a child too soon, learning that he was a walking, talking explosive. My poems now tend to frighten. I have failed to figure a combination of words that will not incite war. I would say that I was born to be fatal, but truth is, who isn't? Odds are you too have a barrel of slugs, throat loaded, ready and waiting. I just hope your aim will be righteous, and that the inevitable will not drown out and suffocate however much humanity you have left, once you too learn that your body is the flesh-eating machete out for anything its eyes can swallow. Thank you. Yeah. So in my next collection, entitled Relearning How to Shine, as I said, there's a bit of a poem trilogy, or maybe just kind of two poems, and the third one's a bit of an epitaph, and it's called the Morbid Opera Trilogy. And this poem here is the first poem in that trilogy. It's entitled Gazebo Dreams and Operatic Nightmares. That's a mouthful. Into the night, out to find you like a ship after a lost star. Finally docked in each other's arms, we spin our hips with a lullaby known only to lovers who have spent too long longing for each other, and while our tongues discover Cupid's newest shuffle. And we sip nectar from out each other's throats. For just a moment there is a hope that this dance will not crescendo and shatter into another kerfunkel of deferred dreams. Yet, if the opera has taught us anything, it is that beauty and sadness cannot live without one another. Much like I enjoy believing about you and I, my love. So deceive me tonight once more, my love. Give me that operatic ending on which you have manufactured such fame. Garnish my hemlock with the syrup of your soulful song. Allow this dance to live and last at least half as long as I know I am fated to mourn it. Hold me in your harmony and adorn me in everything you know I want to hear, for when this song has finally ended, and the piano man can find no more notes to extract from his fingers, and your voice has become a shell of itself, the morning will finally become a fist. I always knew I was never meant to dodge. Here we go. Okay. So this next poem, the prompt for it, I wrote a prompt for my students, as I do every morning. And the prompt was to write a poem or a story personifying and from the perspective of a trash can. And so I wrote this forward and really liked it. And I opened right up to it. That's great. It's called The Warmth of Platitudes in a Cold, Cold World. There's no such thing as a warm thought when you are freezing. While the chill holds your bones hostage, there can be no friendly fire able to thaw out any chances of survival. We converge upon corners like an unwanted street gang. Relinquish the sidewalks to be another bastard's burden, forgotten just as quickly as we are discarded. We are proof that homelessness is not just a human pandemic, but the scourge of all things unwanted. The men continuously tardy to transport us to our trashier version of greener pastures would obviously rather not. Or maybe the city is just too overrun with filth to ever make solid on a timely promise. The time is 4:37 p.m. now. The sun is setting. Mothers unpack children from family sedans. Old-timers exit street corner stores, clutching tonight's lottery tickets, setting free this morning's cruel losers to the wrath of crueler winds. One even lands on top of me. Yet I'm sure that when sanitation comes to collect us, he will not think to examine the ticket, for he knows that nothing of value can ever be shouldered by a body of garbage. When you are dumped, get it? When you are dumped by a wayward lover, or when your friends attempt and fail to encourage you through your abandonment, someone will inevitably mutter something stupid like, one person's trash is another person's treasure. How lucky am I to even share a sentence with anything considered precious or worthy ever in this cold, cold world? Thank you. So this next poem is entitled Prescriptions, 1, a love letter to Black bodies. Today, when we hear the word prescription, we think of our medicine cabinets and that sort of thing. But in ancient Rome, prescriptions list was basically a death row list, right? So if your name ended up on a prescriptions list, any Roman citizen had the right to take you out, right? And you could find your name on that list because you were antithetical or oppositional to the state, or maybe the state needed money and you were rich, or any sort of reason you could wake up one day and find your name on this list. And I had the idea to write this poem sort of inspired by the book To Kill a Mockingbird, and kind of my issue with To Kill a Mockingbird, and by extension my issue with America, is that there always has to be a sacrificial black body in order for us to get closer to wherever it is that we need to be, right? Like, what's his name? I think Tom Robinson, I think his name is. He has to die in order for Scout to realize that she lives in a cruel, cruel world, right? So this is entitled, once I find it, this is entitled Prescriptions, a Love Letter to Black Bodies. And where are you? There it is. Black bodies for your fields, black bodies for your labor, black bodies dissolved into a melting pot and served to spice up your American flavor. Black bodies for bestsellers, black bodies for your box office hits, black bodies for your ballot boxes, black bodies for your soapbox stanzas, black bodies for your campaign laws, black bodies, for your campaign calls, black bodies for your laws to ignore. Black bodies for target practice, black bodies for target practice, black bodies for target practice, black bodies for the penalty of breathing, black bodies for your seething hate, black bodies for your torture, castration, and rape, black bodies. Black bodies for your hot 9/7 jam of the week, black bodies forever paving the way towards the righteousness you seek and preach, black bodies. Black bodies for your favorite sport, black bodies to hang hundreds and hundreds of years on in court, black bodies for your poster cards, for your poster boards and postcards, black bodies for your police, black bodies for your feast, please, black bodies for you to eat your treat, please thirst no longer, be frail no more, sop up the blood with a biscuit, wash it down with willful apathy and live in star-spangled bliss. The dawn's early light never shines on black bodies, except only to pillage the remains. Black bodies, outlined, redlined, streamlined, pipelined, piped down, piped up, strung up, fleeced down, masqueraded, paraded through the streets like prisoners of war, lined up, walled in by more and more and more black bodies. All the names, all the bones, a master's dwelling, all the privilege and precious stones, payloads, endorsement deals, political platforms, reconstitution of all the norms, all the power we employ, all the tragedy you enjoy. I guess we owe Othello a box of Cubans, should send Ricky's mother a couple of royalty checks, tattoo the names of those slain for us to have a reason to utter a word across our tongues, fill our lungs with the ashes of Crispus Attucks, and make sure our markets are ready for more and more and more black bodies. Great. So rounding this out with the last few poems, interesting enough, the other two poets up here all mentioned villanelles. And you performed a villanelle, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Right. So this next poem is not a villanelle, but it's entitled A Villanelle for Dinner, right? So in the Rubicon, obviously a story of myself and Julius Caesar, there's a Cleopatra character. And to keep it short and sweet, the author, the writer, loses Cleopatra. And this poem is kind of an answer to that as she's back now. And where is it? This is one poem that I actually did not print out, and I meant to, so I'm going to have to read this off the phone, as I hate doing. So if you just bear with me just a moment.
Are you a history teacher?
I'm an English teacher. Villanelle. Here we go. An elevator opens to an 8th floor portal. Tonight's menu reads of lasagna and laughter, and I am a man proud to have packed both. We set the scene with all the sacraments, and you are a siren luring me back to my rightful self. The only rocks crashing against me tonight being those dangling from your choker, but first we feast. Diced peppers and playlist crooning, hot pasta and passions ballooning. This banquet is more so a doorway, Much like our friendship has become a most unintentional foreplay, we never intended to become alchemists. And yet, this kitchenette's become a lover's resort, this countertop now a tennis court as we volley affections while the stove sizzles groceries into our latest love language, and you must be a poet. Because what else explains why I find sonnets in every syllable you serve, and I swear, the coming supper is not the reason I salivate before you. And meanwhile, the time now is only 7:28 p.m. Our wine glasses still hunger for something lively and robust, as do I. And now, our dinner is ready. This metamorphosis is complete, and I, once again, am a king no longer blinded, a man once again finally reminded that I am an imperial being, a walking empire. You are a wave washing over me, and this is a villanelle for dinner. Thank you. This next poem is entitled, Have You Ever Seen the Rain? I am the unconquered. When provoked or otherwise bothered, I invoke the spirits that make men immortal and cowards kings. So in the face of tyranny, I sing songs of strength. Tell me, please, have you ever seen the rain? A wrecking ball's kiss to any obstacle out to stop me. I consider a gauntlet thrown to be an act of romance, and yes, I'll dance with whomever. I ask you again, have you ever seen the rain? I know every single genre of seduction, and plus, I know why warfare is sexy. I'm here for the feast and not selfish in the least. No surrender, no retreats. The legions would love a leader like me. Decreed in more than just the art of war, I can assure you a new era. A policy that provides. A dominion over the darkness that resides both inside and out. An empire that never sees the sun set. A living example of the phrase, if I ain't dead, then I ain't done yet. A soldier's silhouette in a polymath's mind. A kind man and a jealous God. I gave New York insomnia way back. Reduced Pompeii to ash the last time a city made me angry. Almost lost the pyramids in a dice game. I ask you again, have you ever known a reign like mine? Call me commander, imperator. Set the stage so that my triumph is grand. May the people stand and band in the streets for the feats accomplished in their name. No, I do not claim to be a king, as I am something far more complex. I do not aim to be a god, as I am something far, far more original. My status is seminal. My principle is pivotal. My pinnacle achievement will be that human history never forgets what we did here. So cheer me as I cheer you. Go ahead, clap for yourselves. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let every corner of the globe hear us laugh. Dance hard enough to scare off anyone with weak hips. Let them know that we live life fiercely. That we greet doubts with indignation, that fate is but a loudmouth taking advantage of the fact that we both forgot who's really in charge here. Paint my face red, color my robe purple, look to the future through whatever kaleidoscope you choose, but do not doubt that the light we show the world today will change it tomorrow. Make no mistake, I'm no rainbow myself. Reach the pot of gold at the end of me and you'll be just as likely to find dynamite. The only real question is just how high do you really want to be? Whatever your answer. Believe you me, I've got the gas for your trip. A resume that stretches from here to the moon. The mic to make wrong right and right righter. This is the part of the poem when you summoned your lighters to a position above your shoulders, meaning this is the part of the poem when you hold the spark in you so high that the sun has no choice but to file a grievance. I guarantee that you'll never know a rain like mine, and I'll finally dine in hell or be halfway to Hades before I sell myself short, resorting only to wrath for tactical reason. And come this season, you'll know just why my reign is inevitable. Thank you. This has been a ride. This last poem is the last poem in my coming collection, and it's called, in parentheses, More Than Dead and Traumatized. And it's written sort of as a positive second to the dead and traumatized, right? Dead or traumatized. A binary you cannot bend yourself around, a reality resounding throughout your highest and lowest chakras, a morbid opera out to rattle bones and hold souls hostage. This is life. And the dead and the traumatized are all that exists. Yet we resist, and resist, and resist, and resist, and repeal, and exist, and evolve, and we are resolved that we are more. More than dead, we are legendary. More than traumatized, more than the products of our environments, more than the wars we have braved, more than the wars we have survived or the battles we've yet to brave, more than the vices we cannot conquer, more than the labels plastered across our prescription bottles, more than the peaks of the mountains we will never call home, more than ever being elected consul of Rome, our lives are ours. And while the days still tick, the minutes continue shrinking, and there are but few visiting hours remaining, we are done complaining about destiny and dichotomies. We are over offering apologies for who and what we are. We pack the pity we once carried for ourselves with dynamite and invite the world to witness its own glorious destruction. We are not anarchists. On the contrary, the rules are what have rendered us rebellious. We are rebel leaders and problem solvers, gladiators and griots, and while we hold no hope at repelling the reaper, we are resolute in our tenacity to become more than what trauma has left us. Thank you, folks. Again, my name is Haru Stewart. Thank you for having me.